going on, guys? Rob here with Oddball RV. So, gonna do a little bit different of a video here. Um, I actually did a recording on how to install the Oddball ORV aluminum fuel tank quite a long time ago, but I never actually put it together into something to upload. And I got to thinking about it and thought, well, it's time to solve that. So we're just going to look at a couple of pictures here, and then I will get into the actual video itself, just to kind of show you what it takes to install. It's a little bit quicker of a clip than I would ordinarily do. It's just because it's kind of my first time recording things and wasn't quite used to what I wanted to get. So anyways, bear with me, and here we'll get into it a little bit.
Okay, in this video, I'm going to show how to put the Oddball ORV aluminum fuel tank into a 1985 Honda Odyssey FL350. And if you're wondering what the blue tape is, what I did is I kind of know where there might be some points where it might get scratched. This is actually one of the early prototype tanks. It's got a few scratches on already, but to keep it nice and shiny, you're going to want to tape up a few areas. So the first is you want to tape up that bracket there. Tape over that, and then over here you want to tape up this guy, and that should keep it safe. These other pieces of tape, this is just to help hold it in place while I get the bolts and stuff in place. So here's the fuel tank. We're going to put it in real quick, so I'm going to set this down. Hopefully I can get it in a nice location here so you can see it. All right, so we're going to grab this. Stick it in, and it slides right in. Should be enough clearance. You just got to do it nice and easy. There's up there, nice and easy. All right. There's over there. If you have a water-cooled hit, not sure if you can see this, there's a tubing. Just kind of move that to the side, slide it up, and then it's in place. At this point, we need to get our handy dandy bracket, which I'm going to have to find.
Okay, so in this part I'm just adding the rear support bracket. We supply the bracket, you just need to reuse the existing mounting bolts that are with the stock fuel tank. I did have to add actually some spacers between the tank and the bracket. You see there's a little bit of a gap. I did this actually off camera. You could do some stacked washers. In my case, I just ended up using a really large nut. On the top, you'll see we reused the existing mounting bracket. Now, this is a prototype fuel tank. The final version actually has some port that's there. So where you see the gap between the tank and the bracket and the bolt threading through, that's not exactly how the current design is. So that's about it. Just kind of tighten everything down, and we'll pick it up in the next video clip.
Okay, so here's the Oddball ORV fuel tank for the Honda Odyssey FL350. I have it just kind of hand tied in here. This is the second prototype. Everything pretty much looks good. Got a few little minor tweaks, but I think overall it's ready. So have a bracket down here, all right, triangle bracket, and had to use kind of some nuts there to give it a little bit of spacing, which is just fine. I don't have these hand tight, that's why it doesn't look super symmetrical or anything, but clearance is real nice right there. And then I was also able to catch this little bracket here. I had to give it some solidarity down there. Something different from some of the other aftermarket fuel tanks, so take advantage of that bracket. And then up here, I'm gonna have to get a little tricky here because of the way that the original fuel tank is. It's got this concave aspect to it, and so right now I don't really have anything kind of supporting that, so I'm gonna have to come up either some rubber grommets or some washers or something like that to clear that. Again, none of this is super real tight. I just got it in here hand tight for fitment.
Okay, so on the final design of the product, we actually put in these additional support brackets. They're welded in, and of course the bracket itself on the Odyssey threads into these holes and everything. So that's how we solved that problem. I know on the video clip you've just seen some nuts and everything. Again, that was a prototype tank, but the finalized version has this on it. So in the next section of the video, I'm just going to talk about some of the features of the fuel tank and cover a few little bit of last bit of details for the installation portion.
Fuel tank gas cap. Just a simple screw on and open it up. Got a plenty nice wide mouth.
So another thing too, I'll point out that I don't think it did very well in the video recorded is this port here. So this is for the fuel sending probe. This is so you can have an actual fuel gauge on your Odyssey. And we don't actually supply this with the tank. It'll just be capped off. If you're interested in the probe, then you can go into our website at oddballorv.com, and under the fuel and fluid section, you'll be able to find it. So another thing to point out here is the actual fuel capacity. So the stock fuel tank is 3.8 gallons, and this is the capacity of our fuel tank, 3.761. Feel very fortunate to get it that close. We don't have the ability to do some of the kind of compound curves and bends and stuff that the stock tank has. But anyways, almost right there at stock. We're really excited that we got so close to that amount. So the next thing we have here is the how the fuel line is hooked up. The top shutoff valve is for our main line, and then the bottom shutoff valve is for the reserve line. So again, that's another additional feature that we give you that some of the other aftermarket tanks don't have. This gives you a reserve, which is always good to have out there. The capacity of the reserve is probably just about a gallon, maybe a little less than that. So the final thing to look at is how the rest of the fuel tank is wired up. So I put together this diagram and posted on a Facebook posting, but I think it's actually really applicable here. You do have the fuel pump that sits on this. This is not the stock fuel tank pump. It's an aftermarket pulse pump. You got your check valve. You got your fuel return. Another thing to highlight here is the fuel tank vent breather tube and port. This just prevents the fuel, when it expands, from being sloshed around and everything, from putting a bulge in the side of the fuel tank. So in the last part of this clip, I'm just going to actually show a previous clip that I had done before. And this is just going to kind of cover everything I talked about real briefly, but in a video form. It'll be quick. I'm going to cut it a little bit short here and there. But this will give you a nice overview of all the features of the tank, and another review of kind of what we discussed in this video.
How you doing, folks? Rob with Oddball ORV. You can check us out at oddballorv.com. In this video, I'm going to show you our aftermarket fuel tank. Been working on this for quite a while. Pretty excited about it. This is an all aluminum fuel tank, and the capacity of it is 3.761 gallons. It's just a hair underneath the stock fuel tank, but it is larger than, I think, some of the other aftermarket fuel tanks that are out there. So one of the great things about it is that it has this port back here. This is a fuel sensing probe. So you can have an actual fuel tank gauge on your machine. And to show you that up here, this is the dash for this machine. This bracket here is also available. You'd have to buy the gauges and everything. But there is the fuel gauge for my machine. So back to the tank. So again, you have the fuel sending probe. You got your fuel filler neck here. This is pre-tapped to hold this fuel pump. It also has a vent here, because you got to vent the tank. And then it's also pre-tapped for the fuel return line here. And on this tank, we do have a, just like the stock tank, we got a primary, and then we got a reserve. So the reserve line is about a gallon or so, and of course the full tank is about 3.78 or 761 gallons. Really excited about this. It's a pretty big product for us. It will be available just the aluminum tank itself, and then of course you can buy the fuel sensing probe and all your mounting equipment. May also do like a complete kit that includes everything else. We're still looking at that. So again, check us out, oddballorv.com.